Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new, spanking new episode of the All Things Destiny podcast. Tonight, as always, I am joined by my co-host, who used to go by Various, but now goes by the name of Time of Lightning. How are you doing tonight, Time of Lightning?
I'm doing good.
Well, that's pretty amazing to hear. So, tonight, I'm gonna let Various Edits, aka Time of Lightning, take it over. But before we do, I want to say the last few episodes when we switched to Kick have been a little trouble, so please ignore some of the issues. And with the new overlays, I would recommend following this channel, as we will possibly doing some more streams on it. We'll be doing as many streams as possible over on this channel. So, if you guys don't want to miss that, now's your chance to do it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this brand spanking new episode, as this is episode 14 of the All Things Destiny podcast. Various, go ahead and kick it off.
Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the sandbox to Destiny. As not too much is going on with it. It's kind of been stale for the past couple months. Other than the one time it got exciting whenever the Immortal was introduced and everyone started getting upset. Everything's been kind of balanced. Not too much has been really going on. Only thing that I have to complain about is whenever Target Lock Immortal was being a nuisance. It's been relatively good, just really dry. I think that it could be shook up by having a new quote-unquote meta where there's just some standout guns that do relatively well in PvP. And PvE meta, and the sandbox for that, I think there could be some more weapons, definitely. As it's just been kind of boring with only a couple weapons. There's just there's Hung Jury. There's this is for scout rifles. Hung Jury Adept and the King's Fall scout rifle, of course Adept. And then there's also one of the newer auto rifles that has come into the PvE meta is the Root of Nightmares 1, so it can get reconstruction target lock. But there's really not very many meta options for PvE except for a couple rocket launchers. Sleeper Simulant's kind of good, but there's really not anything going on. Making it a little... The sandbox is pretty stale right now.
Okay, well, that's a nice little opinion. And I kind of agree. Which we'll touch a little bit more about the sandbox in a little bit. But, yeah, I gotta admit, it's been a little dry. Especially with the sandbox. Because going into PvP, you're not getting one-tapped by pretty much anything anymore. And it's kind of been stale. And I'm full agree with Various. So, I'm going to take over this little next part. We're going to do one each. So, today we're going to talk about kind of how dry the content's been. So, for me, I feel the content has been very, very dry. For me and Various, people that have been playing Destiny for a long time have been playing other games. We've been playing a game called Dead by Daylight. It's a great horror game. We've been playing that a lot more because it's a lot more entertaining than in Destiny. When we go LFG for raids and stuff, we haven't really received anyone. It's been really dry on stuff at times. And I don't know if it's just like that, but we still log in once a week for a reset stuff and then do it from there. So, Various, do you think Destiny is currently dry right now?
Extremely. It is extremely dry.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that for the fellow listeners?
The only thing that goes on is every week there's the same mission, pretty much the same mission, over and over again. There's the only really new thing this season has been the dungeon. I think this season really could have benefited from, instead of them bringing back, what's it called?
Titan?
Wrath of the Machine.
Ooh.
I think, because
you're a little ahead of there,
buddy.
buddy. You're a season ahead of there, buddy.
Okay. What I'm saying is, I think it would have been better if they had just decided to just release it this season, since it's so dry.
Okay, yeah, I'm in agreement. As I said, we've been playing Death by Daylight. It's been a really fun game. I just want to let people know that I hate the Michael Myers Rage Killer. He is annoying. So, that is it. Various, I'm going to let you take the lead on the used fashion. How used fashion from previous articles and magazines have won this fashion. Go ahead, Various. Take it over. Various, are you there?
Yep.
Go ahead and talk about your opinions on how the used fashion that were previously shown in the Bungie magazine have won this year's stuff in the magazine. Do you have any? What are your thoughts on it?
Not really sure.
Okay. I don't think they should do that. I think once kind of something comes out, like the magazine comes out with that stuff, that no one can copy it, and if it's a copy or a reskin, that they should basically say you can't copy someone else's work, as that kind of falls into the copyright stuff. I want to talk about this stuff, and then I'll let Various pick it up for the rest of the episode. We're going to talk about the community. We're going to do like a little bit of a Q&A style, but we're going to talk about kind of how what we have dealt with as the podcast, and kind of what has happened with the podcast, as well as certain things that has happened in our community, because I believe in full transparency. What do you think, Various? Do you believe in full transparency?
Yeah.
Okay. I know I've done a couple YouTube videos on this, as well as some episodes, but I think for this episode, we need to clear the air, as I feel like a lot of people in the community have been kind of keeping their mouth shut against me. But yes, I have broken off from the Destiny show, as well as I have broken off from iResolute. iResolute happened back in December, where there was an Eager Edge incident where I accidentally Eager Edged someone by accident, and I was laughing because it was just funny because I dropped my controller. And this meme, if you guys have seen how many controllers I've blown through, it's not even funny, and it's funny at this point. It's like a meme. I should change my name from Arcstorm 2 to the controller memer. So that happened, then he timed me out for that, and also said, as he knows, as we had him on the podcast, he knows I'm a streamer, and then he claimed to have someone work for Bungie. And as I asked for the name, because I wanted to confirm, because iResolute made up rules during that time, he said he can't tell me. And after looking into it, he did not. After looking into everyone that was in the raid party, no one worked for Bungie, and he has blocked me. And continues to this day to be toxic about it. So I have broken away. What happened with the Destiny show is that apparently during the iResolute situation, I posted everyone that had me blocked on Twitter. It was their exact ads. Their exact ads. Like at iResolute, at Destiny the Memes. Like, people did that. And I guess someone took that and started to send death threats. And I was in finals week at the time, and I remember getting a message from one of our used to be a co-founder, not co-founder, that was in the something else, but a co-host, saying that I threatened this guy, blah blah blah, and I told him, and we argued about it for a little bit. I said it wasn't me, it's just this tweet, and I sent him a copy of the tweet, and he's like, delete it, and I did, and then I also posted, you guys hate and you guys send death threats on anything, I'm gonna block you. And it turned there. I guess the Destiny show got a threat. And then, now that we talked about everything that happened with the podcast, I'm going to talk about something that has happened in my Arcstorm server, because it kind of ties into the Destiny show stuff. The reason we're not speaking. So during the iResolute stuff. So during the iResolute, I actually just went radio silent. I turned off all social media and stuff for a good 2 weeks. I wasn't live. I don't even think I had Discord open. And during one of the weeks, my friend and I, who used to be one of my friends, but he's became toxic, and I dissed myself from toxic people. Me and him were just gaming, and one of the users that are in the server, Dedra, reached out to me and said this guy impersonated him. And his name, I don't know his name on Discord anymore, because I have him blocked, but on both of them. But I guess this guy did this. During the period of time I turned off Twitter, I had no notifications on and stuff. So his proof of that it was me, he assumed it was me. I told him no. I showed him the accounts I have. As always, I only have 3 accounts under my name. I only have the podcast account, stuff for the clan as we're going to try some stuff with the clan, and my Arcstorm one. I'm trying to keep each individual thing separate, as it's not what happens. So, that happened. 1 second. So, with that happening, I've just kind of left, and he kind of said it's me and blah blah blah. His stuff was there it is. So the user stuff is Dedra OCE. Okay. He's the one who I have blocked, but it was someone else was OCD Dedra, which I don't really care. Okay. It's just how I am. So I let it go, and then 6 months later, and granted, Dedra has been a couple things in my server. He has broken some rules. I have all the reports and stuff of all the edits. So he's already there. His friend Rack has hacked the server and has hacked Dedra. I actually have a couple things on it. So when everything happened, he claimed that it was me. And so a couple days, within the same day of me joining the Destiny show back after the iResolute stuff, which was a couple days in March, he had blocked me and removed me from his server. I was like, huh? And so I let it go. I wasn't cared. I just was curious on why. After he gave me a reason, I left it at that. And so when that happened, I let things go. Didn't communicate. The only thing I did was debate on whether or not I should make a YouTube video exposing kind of how and covering my side as well, because it was an informational video to kind of show that people diss you, don't give you a chance to prove your innocence in this community. So when that happened, I was debating and I reached out to him. Hey, I want to work things out because I don't want to post this video, but he never did. And so a few days later, I get a viewer of mine that basically told me that the Destiny show uploaded a podcast episode with some audio taken from the podcast and my Twitch channel intro, as they're all kind of together. And I'm sitting there and he links me the episode and I start listening to it. It includes my voice, but my voice is different from what I used on the podcast. And it starts thinking in my mind that it's being ripped because the audio is so not clear on my end of things. And so, of course, I went through the proper channels. I emailed Spotify their process of DMCA takedown because it needed to happen. I wasn't going to leave something like that to anyone to use because it's not what I want to do. I don't want to have my stuff that I've worked hard on and stuff be used by this guy that blocks me and then it uses my audio, because that's not good for my image. I'm posting a tweet, why this guy blocked me, never posted any updates, and just left it at that. And he's putting me on a show, and I didn't appreciate that. I honestly did not appreciate having my audio on a show after what he did. It makes me look like a hypocrite in my mind. And so he started basically threatening me. He did impersonate a lawyer because this lawyer contacted me on Twitter, and I started looking at the account. I started looking into it because I was going to tell them, hey, we're not trying to do anything, but if you're keeping up, we're going to sue for defamation at this point and copyright infringement. So we're looking into it. Look for a website, doesn't exist. Any phone numbers, doesn't exist. The account was created in March of 23 or May of 23. So this is just a fairly recent incident. And I'm like, it's the same month, it's not him, and blah blah blah. Then so I said, if you're a real lawyer, because lawyers are not supposed to threaten one another. He proceeded to send threats to me. I said, even if you're a real lawyer and I'm mistaken, I'm going to report you to the bar for threats. You don't witness intimidation. And you don't do any of that. And so he proceeded to death threats, and I submitted everything to Spotify, and they took down the episode. They took it down, and they actually removed the voice. And he claimed, in his emails, many emails back and forth, that he sent this to Bungie and all of that. It is not within his, and he said he had a right that he owns everything in the episode. You don't own my audio. I own it as it's my voice. So, and I said, send me proof that I was on your show. I told him, send me proof that I was in that episode and on the show, and I'll back away my claim. Till then, the claim stands. And he's like, we'll take it down. I said, I want to sign contract. Because of how toxic he is in the past, I wanted to sign contract. It isn't my job to have to worry about this. So those are some of the incidents that it's happening, and why people have been afraid to say anything because they side with him. I don't appreciate that. I've told you guys everything I know, and I hate and this is kind of where I wanted to touch into the Destiny community. I hate when bigger content creators use their following to sway a lot of people and just to say their side of things. I would never do that. In my server, it's always first we call the mods, kind of talk about what's going on. Then we call the person that is brought it to our attention. Usually it's through mod report. Then we let him speak, and then we're saying we're going to bring in, then we bring in the accused to see if he has any proof. And I had proof to back up my claim. Because that's where a server should run. You have to talk to one another and not say and do things to do it. And that's the way everyone should do it. Don't just sit there, wait for anyone to cause a mistake and then bite them. It's like being a snake in the grass. That's the thing. It's not cool. And so that's kind of how we run in the community. If any issues, just let us know. We're always willing to work through it. We're not like these big content creators that we get big and we don't care about our community. No, Various and I have worked through a lot of shit. And that's all we're going to say on top of that situation. Because we had some clan stuff, but we're not going to get into it on this episode, as that's still raw. The whole issue is still raw in us. Because I'm not happy how we handled the issue. And so I don't really want to talk about it on the episode, as there is some issues. So, Various, go ahead and let's talk about next the Dado stuff. Go ahead and take it over from here.
So, Arc actually told me about this first, but I guess Arc was looking through Twitter and he saw a tweet from Lucky, and it was talking about Dado did Destiny. I guess he's decided to. He just doesn't enjoy it anymore. He said that whenever he sits down to do gaming or anything like Destiny content, any kind of gaming, he feels like he's at work every single time he plays games. And it's making him not enjoy it anymore. And he's talking about quitting.
I kind of agree with that statement. And to clarify, I wasn't scrolling through Twitter. I have notifications on, because I turned them back on after the whole incident, and I calmed things down. I've turned notifications on. Usually I keep them on my phone to kind of gauge if something's going on in the community. And I saw a tweet, and Various, can you guys guess what I was playing when I saw that? Various, do you know what game it was?
Dead by Daylight?
Yep, we were playing Dead by Daylight, and I saw it. And it kind of was like, oh shit, maybe I should kind of do it. And when that happened, it was like that. And I kind of feel bad, but about Dado. Dado's been around since the beginning of Destiny. But it does feel like it works sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I feel the same way when it comes to sometimes with Destiny. I feel like it's a job. I used to have fun. I used to want to come home and hit that lab button and have fun. But lately it's been feel like a chore. I've been having more fun on Dead by Daylight than in Destiny in the last few days. And so it definitely feels like it. So did you want to talk about the next part that we're talking about? The exotic quest. So we got a lot of exotic quests coming up. So I'm going to read off what exotic quests are coming, because we're going to get some exotics for some exotic guns. So, the Bastion is getting a catalyst. What do you think it's going to do, Various? AKA Time of Lightning.
If I were to guess on anything it would do, I'm guessing fire an extra burst or tighten the radius.
Okay. I kind of think so too, because we all know kind of what it does. Or maybe some more damage. Maybe each round does more damage, because some catalyst does that. What do you think on that? Okay, well, Various, aka Time of Lightning, currently stepped away from his mic. So, next up, we have the Monte Carlo Auto. I have a great idea, because they said the Monte Carlo is not good. It's a new thing they're trying. I think we finally can use the glaive on the front end of it.
Yes.
Yep, I think they said they were looking into it, and I
You
think it's finally coming.
I think that would be amazing.
Yep. Next up, we got the Chaperone, the Holidays Family Made. Well, what do you think the Chaperone is gonna be?
This is the only thing I think it could be, and it upsets me so much. I think the catalyst is going to up the range.
At or tracking rounds?
I highly doubt it would be tracking rounds.
Next up, we got the Last Word Hand Cannon. I'm gonna say this one, I think it's gonna be more stability.
I would think it would be more range.
Stability, because you know how it is. You know how hand cannons are.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the Thorn. Longer tick damage.
I think it's going to do two things. Kind of like Ace of Spades. I think it's going to up the range by 10 or 20. And I also think that it's going to, I think the ticks are going to be faster and deal more damage.
Okay. Next up, we get the Wish Ender Bow. I think it's going to get a longer charge time, because it already can see through the walls. It's not like you can just shoot it through the walls with Catalyst. So maybe a longer charge time, because you can see through the walls.
Yeah, I have about the same thought.
Next up, we got the Devil's Ruin sidearm. There's two things: damage and reload speed between the fire attack, the straight beam attack, and the regular sidearm. What do you think?
I think, if I were to guess, probably a larger magazine and faster reload speed.
Okay. Next up, we got the legendary, the Nerf 3 times. We got Divinity. What do you think it's gonna do?
Probably bigger div bubble.
Either a bigger dip bubble or more damage.
Yeah, probably. That's what I'm thinking.
Teraba. Maybe we get a perk called Incandescent on it, because you already have Ravenous Beast and it goes. That, or it extends Ravenous Beast longer.
If I were to guess, it would probably extend it longer.
Next up, we got something that no one really uses. We got the Wave Splitter. What do you think they're gonna do?
To be honest, I don't even know what the normal wave splitter does.
I think it's gonna be like kind of like Cold Heart, more DPS. Next up, we got when breach loader grenade launchers. When we got that weaken clear for grenade launchers, this thing was overpowered as hell. We got the myth, the legend, Anarchy. I think what they're gonna do is that's gonna increase the amount of tick damage because the tick damage gun, and maybe it'll include some few more rounds, or they're gonna completely break the catalyst and have it work like breach, like weaken clear for GLs. What do you think, Various?
I think they're gonna make it so that like every Anarchy round you put on it, whenever they're gonna make it so more connect and it deals more damage if more connect.
Next up, we got what took me 9 tries. We got a Beyond Light exotic from the Deep Stone Crypt. We got the Eyes of Tomorrow, Galahorn 2.0. What do you think it's gonna do, Various?
I'm scared to say this, but I think they're gonna make it so it doesn't have to launch up in the air, which scares me, especially in Gambit.
I think they're gonna fix the stability on that too, so you don't rocket yourself anymore. Next up, we got the 1K from one of the biggest raids inside of Destiny 2. I'm gonna let you take over on what do you think it's gonna do.
If probably a bigger magazine and incandescent on each kill with it.
Okay. Next up, we got what used to be the best Scourge weapon after it was moved from the heavy slot to the special slot. We got Scourge of the Past, came out in Forsaken, the Queenbreaker Bow. What do you think it's gonna do, Various?
I have not used this exotic in such a long time. All I can think it would do is maybe up the damage a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Next up, we got what people use to get out of the map. We got a Beyond Light exotic, Salvation's Grip. I think it's gonna reduce the charge time between shooting. What do you think, Various? AKA Time of Lightning.
This is the only thing I think that they could do to make this even a little viable, or even give it a reason to run in PvP. Make it so whenever you destroy the crystals, it sends out a cold snap.
Ooh, so a cold snap grenade. I think that's a pretty good idea. And next up, this is what some of us used for Riven in The Last Wish. I think it is the myth, another myth, the legend from Beyond Light, what Clovis Bray III lament. I think it's gonna reduce the time, the charge time between strikes. What do you think?
I'm thinking that, what you said, or maybe I'm thinking like heavy attacks You can do 2 heavy attacks, and 1 makes it so you don't lose Banshee's Wail.
Okay, so double heavy attacks. Next up, we were given this to request from our daddy Callus returns. The Truth rocket launcher with the catalyst. What do you think it's gonna give us? Various edits, aka Time of Lightning. Go ahead and give me your thoughts.
Extra damage.
Exactly. Because it's kind of like Eyes of Tomorrow. Last but not least, we got the Oracle Destroyer. The most famous thing from the Pit of Heresy. Aka Hershey Bar, as I call it. Hershey. It has Guardian Light in it. May I present the long-lasting Xenophage that's getting a catalyst come season 22. What do you think we're getting?
I know that this is something that I'm not sure people will enjoy, especially with like Gambit and stuff. I think they should bring Xenophage back to its original glory, back in Season of the Splicer.
Ooh, you're kind of getting me there. You're giving me goosebumps. So, before we get into this, is kind of the last thing that we have on the agenda tonight. We got to go over this week in Destiny. So, without further ado, if you guys are listening to the episode, unfortunately, you guys won't see the twat. But you guys can listen to kind of what we're thinking on it. Unfortunately, the bot we have, aka Craig, does not like to load properly and doesn't record video. So, we got this week at Destiny. So, it is Pride and Trans at Bungie. So, we got an emblem code. They're breaking down some of the stuff. They're kind of maybe updating some stuff. They talks about how stuff is getting determined. The Stompies, they talk about how Stompies did it. They're trying to look. There might be adding some interactions with exotic weapons with the armor. Miscellaneous questions. They're talking about some HUD that are coming with. They'll be talking closer to the final shape. And Saladin emblem. Looks a really cool emblem. And then it just talks about who has won. Someone looks like Hunter's Moth. Then we got someone that's a pink Arc Hunter. Then someone has copied another drip called SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. Just kidding, it is Patrick the Star. This is guys subclasses for each subclass. Gambit and Crucible. And then we got some guy that's fishing with a mask on. Cyber Runner. Then we got a Yoda. So these are all pretty dang cool. So, and we got someone that looks like the disciple of the Taken King and then Spider-Man. So that is it for this podcast episode. Various edits, aka Time of Lightning. Before we sign off for the night, where can these amazing guardians and listeners find you?
They can find me on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch on Time of Lightning, and Twitter at Gavin Boya.
Okay. So, all his links will be in the description box of the episode on both YouTube and Spotify, where you guys can find the All Things Destiny podcast. You can find it on Spotify at All Things Destiny. You can also find it on YouTube on a playlist for Arcstorm under All Things Destiny as we upload the podcast episodes there. You can also find us over on Tictok at All Things Destiny. You can also find us on Instagram at All Things Destiny. You can also find us over on Kick at All Things Destiny. You can also find us on Facebook at All Things Destiny. You can also find us on All Things Destiny. If you have any guest idea, if you guys want to be on the podcast in any way, shape, or form, my business email is allthingsdestiny@gmail.com. So there's something that you guys can email me for any business opportunities, such as sponsorships and whatnot. As well as that will be linked in the description box below. Where you guys can find me when the All Things Destiny is not on. You guys can find me at Arcstorm2 over on Twitter. You can find me over at Arcstorm2 on TikTok as well as on Twitch. All the links will be in the description box down below if you guys want to see more in depth in it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are not following over on Kick, make sure you guys go follow so you guys can be notified when we go live. And during some time, we may be streaming over on Kick a little bit more. So, on the time of lightning on All Things Destiny. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And I'll catch you next Sunday for the next episode on episode 15. So, thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you later.